Hi there, and welcome to the tutorial for the Tuck Yourself Calf Drum Skin Pack from Litik. Before we get started, let's talk about a couple general principles related to tucking calf skins for drums. Please keep in mind that calf skins are incredibly forgiving. By that I mean if there are some slight inconsistencies in the thickness of the skin or in the tension that you tuck the skin with on the hoop, don't worry about it. That'll all come out as the skin is tucked and dried and as you tune it for the first time. Also keep in mind that the first time you're tucking a skin, it'll take about an hour or an hour and 15 minutes. Later, after you've done it a couple of times, have some experience, and develop a feel for handling the skin, this time should come down to about half an hour or so. Great! Let's talk about the tools we need to get this job done. We'll need a bucket with lukewarm water, a tea towel for soaking up any water we might spill, and a cloth, just in case we need to apply a little extra water to the skin while we're tucking. And of course we need our Tuck Yourself pack. Let's see what's inside the box. First thing we have is the tucker. This is the tool we'll use to tuck the skin under and around the hoop. Use the small end for 14-inch drums. The larger end is intended for larger skins like bass drum or timpani skins. Next, we've got Litik's specially designed Easy Tuck hoop. This is a rust-free hoop and can be used time and time again for new skins. This hoop features a special groove on the outside surface. This groove is where the extra skin will end up that we tuck around the hoop, and allows the hoop and the skin to fit easily into the counter hoop once the skin is tucked. Lastly, we've got our piece of calf skin, pre-cut to size, ready to tuck. Okay, we're ready to get started. So before we get started with the actual tucking of the skin, we need to let it soak in water for about 10 minutes. The time can vary depending on the thickness of the skin or the exact temperature of the water, but around 10 minutes. Be careful though not to let it soak for too long, because the skin can become over soft and a little bit hard to handle. About 10 minutes. Here we go. And make sure that the skin is completely submerged when soaking. Okay, so the skin's been soaking for about 10 minutes now, and we're ready to tuck it on the hoop. Before we lay it down on the table, we want to get our working surface a little bit wet first. So we take our cloth and just dribble some water over it. Spread it out. The reason for this is that it prevents the skin from drying out while we're actually tucking. There we go. Let's get the skin. And we want to lay it on the table with the stamped side facing down. This will be the playing surface later once the skin is actually tucked. So, we lay it perfectly flat, no wrinkles, try to get all the air bubbles out. And then we take our Easy Tuck hoop and center it on the skin. There we go. To start tucking, we want to tuck the skin at 4 points around the hoop. This will hold it steady while later we go in and fill in the distances in between. So for the first tuck, we want to grab the part that's closest to us and roll the skin up until you get to the hoop. From there, you lift the hoop up and with your fingers tuck it under. Now is when we use the tucker. You take the tucker and push the skin that you've just grabbed and rolled to the back side of the hoop, just like that. So, let's grab another piece of skin, roll that up also, and tuck under the hoop. In this stage, you should be careful not to pull the skin too tightly around the hoop, because it'll decenter the hoop on the skin, and when you go to the other side, you might not have enough skin left to tuck. So just be careful with that in the first stage here. There we go. We've got a start. Now I'll spin this around, and we'll do the other side. Again, take a piece of skin, wrap it around the hoop, roll the skin towards you as tightly as possible, lift up the hoop, slide it under, take the tucker, and push the skin through until it's on the outside of the hoop. Now, although natural skins can be soft and a bit squishy, they're not very fragile, so you can use quite a bit of pressure to make sure that the skin makes it all the way through under the hoop and to the other side. So, there we go. We've got the skin secured in 4 points around the hoop. Now that we've done that, we're going to go in and we'll fill in the distances between the 4 points where we've tucked. If we start here, for example, we'll go tucking and rolling just about until we meet the next section, but we'll leave the last little bit for the end. So, here we go. Tuck. And now that we've got about 1 tuck left before we meet up with the next section, we leave it there for now. Once we have all 4 points to this stage here, we'll go and finish up by tucking the last little bit in all 4 points. Okay, now we've almost completely closed the 4 sections. We're just left with these 4 little points left to tuck. Now, tucking this little bit of skin can be a little bit challenging to roll, like we did in the previous sections, just because there's not so much skin there and it's a little bit trickier to grab. Here, if you don't get the roll completely tight, or the way you did in the previous sections, don't worry about it. It's also possible to just kind of stuff the skin under there, and it's going to hold tightly and the tension's going to be equal all around. So let's close off the first section. To roll it up, pull it as tight as you can around the hoop, lift up the hoop and tuck it under. There we go, first section closed. There we go. Now the skin is essentially tucked around the hoop. What's advisable from here is just to take a look to make sure there's no little bits of skin sticking out from under the hoop still. Looks good. So now gently lift the hoop up, and with your fingers you can go along and you can feel along the top surface of the hoop if there's any skin that's stuck around this area here. And if so, you can just gently massage it around the hoop like this. Oh, there was a bit. Terrific. Now, all the extra skin that we tucked is on this outside part of the hoop. That is to say, where the special groove is on the Easy Tuck hoop. You could insert it already into the counter hoop like this, but I think it's also advisable just to, again, massage the skin up a little bit and to try to put it just above the groove. Terrific! Now we're ready to put the skin on the drum to let it dry. Now that we've got the skin completely tucked around the hoop, we're ready to put it on the drum. So now, take your little towel, just dab off any extra water that's left on the skin, front and back. So, take the counter hoop from the drum, lay it down, take your skin and your hoop, and just insert it into the counter hoop. Now, if you want to, you can also let the skin dry like this. But it's advisable to actually put on the drum and let it dry there. So it fits easily over the shell. Now, while it's drying, we don't want to have too much tension on the skin, because as it dries, it's going to tighten, and we can do the fine tuning later. So we'll put all the tension rods in and just tighten them with your fingers so they make contact with the counter hoop. So here we are. We've got our tucked calf skin on the drum, and all we need to do now is wait. It should take about 3 days for it to completely dry and be ready to play. After 3 days, a little bit of fine tuning and you're ready to go. Be careful though during the drying not to leave it in a space that's too dry. Don't try to dry it too quickly. It's not good for the skin. So there you go. Now you're ready to go tuck yourself.